Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Ninja Knight. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. So today we have an article from Bounding into Comics, and Bounding into Comics are posting that a rumor. So this is a rumor. Take it with a grain of salt. That Disney is discussing new Star Wars film starring Luke Skywalker set after Return of the Jedi. Now, for me, I don't know. Is it too late at this stage? Unless they wipe away the whole Disney trilogy, I don't know if it's enough to get people back. I really don't. So a new rumor details that Disney is discussing a Luke Skywalker solo film that will take place 10 years after the Return of the Jedi and take place during the timeline of The Mandalorian. This new rumor comes from YouTuber Overlord Doomcock as he laid out the plans that Disney are discussing to erase the sequel trilogy and determine the future of Star Wars. If Star Wars is to progress and if it is to survive, they need to get rid of that sequel trilogy because it just spat in the face of everything that George Lucas did. It spat in the face of the characters of Anakin Skywalker, Luke Skywalker, and particularly as well to Obi-Wan Kenobi, for example. So it's very, very, very important that they get rid of that trilogy as soon as possible if they want to move forward and have fans to return. So Doomcock explains, I'm told that everything is on the table as far as Star Wars is concerned, and specifically I've been given three scenarios that are being debated to erase the sequel trilogy and to determine the future of Star Wars. One good, one bad, and one that is lawfully good, neutral in D&D terms. So we have Doomcock then went to detail about each of these three plans. The long goodbye. He began with the first one, which he calls The Long Goodbye. The first scenario is kind of a soft reboot of the sequel trilogy and is by far the worst option on the table. In this scenario, they used the veil of the Force to go back in time and warned Luke not to try and kill Ben Solo, Doomcock explains. So for anyone who is unsure about what the veil of the Force is, the veil of the Force was something that was introduced in Star Wars Rebels, and basically they time travel saved Ahsoka Tano, which I had a massive issue with because it just broke the canon of Star Wars. The fact that they could time travel, the whole idea of Star Wars at the time was that every event happened and there was no ability to change it. Inputting that into Star Wars Rebels really, really was a big problem for me. But if it then comes to saving Star Wars as a franchise and getting rid of that trilogy and providing us with something better, I don't know. Maybe I'll be a little bit easier on it. So Ben still turns to the dark side of the Force, but Luke's hands are clean of it. I mean, if they do all this, it still stains Luke's character because even in this revised scenario, Luke is still considering killing his nephew, Leia's son. If Luke has to be warned against killing Ben, he was still thinking about it, he elaborates. He continues, so really, what changes? Luke is still fundamentally someone who was so morally compromised he thought about killing his nephew. And I mean, this Luke Skywalker, the biggest problem people have, and I certainly had with Luke Skywalker, was this was a guy that spent basically 2.5 movies, if you want to call it forced, and they kind of left it a little bit, I suppose, ambiguous, but definitely spent 2 movies trying to change Darth Vader and turn Darth Vader back to a good guy when Darth Vader had committed horrible atrocities. I mean, the fact that he had a bad dream about his nephew was so way off Luke Skywalker, it was bad. Dimcock then adds, I'm told that in this scenario, The Force Awakens stays mostly the same with just a few tweaks here and there. The Last Jedi gets massively redone as Luke is dissuaded from attacking Ben. Ben Solo still becomes Kylo Ren, which kind of proves that Luke was kind of right to try and kill Ben and vindicates Rian Johnson's version of things. And Luke trains Rey in the ways of the Force as she should have done in the Last of Jedi. In the end, Princess Leia dies, but Luke Skywalker lives, he details. That was something that made me absolutely furious in The Last Jedi. The fact that Luke Skywalker died on an island alone, it was embarrassing, I suppose. He concludes the Force plan saying, and then finally the Lucas cut would replace the Abrams cut of Rise of Skywalker, although it would have to be altered to reflect Luke surviving the revised Last Jedi. That's not great. The Big Red Eraser. The second plan Doomcock calls the Big Red Eraser. He explains this is the best scenario, the one that Doomcock reported on a month ago, and the only I believe that can save Star Wars, erasing the sequel trilogy entirely. Doomcock continues, in this scenario they use the Veil of the Force to kill Palpatine when he enters the Veil at the end of the Return of the Jedi, thereby erasing everything that comes after that. The sequel, the Disney trilogy, becomes an alternate timeline and is never referenced again. This is probably a good idea. He adds, in addition to this, I'm told they are contemplating a new Luke Skywalker move set 10 years after the Return of the Jedi, set in the Mandalorian timeline. Doomcock then speculates about this film, saying, I think a reason they're considering doing this instead of doing a Luke Skywalker set around the time of The Force Awakens is this. Part of the second scenario involves filming George Lucas's trilogy as a replacement for the sequel trilogy, which lines up with my reporting of the rumoured conditions Lucas set out for his return to Lucasfilm. Doomcock then documents Lucas's rumoured 4 demands for his return to Lucasfilm. He then states, so clearly if they're going to film Lucas's official sequel trilogy, the adventures of Jedi Master Luke Skywalker don't fit in with Lucas's sequel trilogy as he imagined it. So they'd have to rehabilitate Luke in a movie set in a decade after Return of the Jedi. He does state that recasting Luke Skywalker would not be an option. Doomcock states, I'm told that recasting Luke Skywalker thankfully is not an option here. If Mark Hamill wouldn't do the movie, they'd scrap it and move on to the third option. So the third option is Return of the Lucas. Doomcock then begins to discuss option 3, which he titles Return of the Lucas. In this option, they simply do Lucas's sequel trilogy without any of the old cast and completely disregard the sequel trilogy with no explanation given. Later, Doomcock details that his source tells him that the second option, the big red razor, is the favoured option, but he states it is emphasised as of now that nothing is set in stone and all options are on the table. What do I make of it? Well, what I would do is I would totally ignore the sequel trilogy and I would just start anew. I'd just start with Luke Skywalker. I would just episode 7. That's what I would call it. Because the Roman numerals I think were missing from the Disney sequel trilogy. Give it episode 7, start it with Luke, and crack on from there. I don't think turning to the Veil of the Force should be even an option. I think what they should do is they should just start episode 7, create a new villain perhaps, and have Luke Skywalker go through those 3 movies, I think, and bring back the Luke Skywalker that we know. I think all of this muddling in Star Wars Rebels canon and stuff like that is a big problem. And I think Ahsoka Tano is a massive, massive problem going forward. The fact that they saved her in Star Wars Rebels and then provided her with uh, Gandalf the white looking outfit at the end of Rebels. So they should change it. That's me for today. Thank you very much. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.